Hello and welcome to the LightWarriors Academy, where we are featuring heart-centered entrepreneurs who are here making a difference in people's lives. And today I have the incredible pleasure of featuring the wonderful Eric Wheeler. He is a poet, an author, a survivor of recovery, and really an anti-violent advocate who was inspired thousands to speak in jails. He has spoken in prisons, treatment centers, colleges, classrooms, really about adopting and maintaining those sober living, as well as helping people to recover from extreme child abuse. He is a spiritual seeker, a speaker, and a communicator that truly is passionate about helping others. Eric, hello and welcome to the Light Warriors Academy.
Wow, with an introduction like that, I'm excited to hear what I'll have to say.
Me too. What can I say? So Eric, thank you so much again for being here. Can you tell the audience just kind of a little bit about why you're so passionate in helping others through their recoveries?
Yeah, I mean, over 21 years ago, I got to a point of either live or die. And thankfully, I chose to live. And in that process of getting sober and getting down to the core issues of how my life had gotten to that point, I started speaking. So when I started speaking and sharing my story, I became aware of the incredible need of transparency and being able to relate to someone who's been on a similar path in the recovery process. So that's kind of how everything started out for me. It was a gradual awareness of the immense need.
So from what I can hear and what I can understand, going through this recovery process has been such a feat for you. How exactly did you go about overcoming these adversities for yourself?
Well, again, with the speaking, I had a mentor that kind of put me in the game really early, at about 3 months of sobriety. And he took me to a what they call a speaker meeting in a 12-step group. And I was talking and I was like, who's speaking? And he's like, you are, so I ended up speaking for about 50 minutes of the 55 minutes that I had been given. And in that process of telling my story, I realized how crazy my life had gotten. And I knew that if I didn't do something, that my mind would somehow trick me into believing that it was okay to go back to that lifestyle and that everything would be okay. The other thing that I did that was crucial, and this can have an outlet in art or music or anything else, I started writing poetry to get down to those core issues, and started speaking, reciting poetry, hosting poetry readings, and that kind of set the foundation for the first 10 to 15 years of my recovery and really helped me accelerate that recovery process.
That's so beautiful. And I have to agree, having an artistic outlet is really crucial in being able to express some of those really challenging feelings that you need to go through. It really is a channel of healing. So what accomplishment, in your personal opinion, would you say that you're most proud of?
I would have to say it's been the process and the ability that I nurtured to be able to be completely transparent about my story And that in turn has helped many people, men and women, go be able to create a space, number one, and two, um, kind of give them permission to open up a little bit more and be able to help people that they could reach where I particularly would not be able to reach. And I've seen that over and over through different speaker meetings that I've participated in, and people coming up and asking afterwards, hey, I related to your story, and then working with them to get down to the core of that, and helping them convey that into their life's purpose, and be able to articulate that to the people in their lives.
That's absolutely beautiful. So what would you say is that one core strategy that you use to achieve that level of success, that recovery system for you?
I mean, the main thing is number well, there's three things basically. The main thing is they've got to create a different meaning for whatever that core issue was. For me, it was having my grand aunt was murdered, trying to save her daughter from her daughter's crazy ex-husband who had just got out of prison, and that and a few other things. But the meaning that I attached to that was not serving me in adulthood, and I was just a kid and I didn't understand sacrificing your life for your child. I do understand that now, but that changing the meaning that I have for that, and actually being proud that she was of such character that she would willingly give her life to save her daughter, as opposed to what I had, the meaning that I had attached. Once I shifted that meaning that I attached to that particular incident, then I was able to connect with the emotions and then be able to convey the actual beauty of what she had done, and instead of having that as a resentment or a something that held me back in expressing my full potential.
I know that you shared with me a beautiful process for forgiveness, and I would love the opportunity to share that with the audience right here, right now, if that's okay with you.
Sure, sure. Yeah, it was a process that actually helped me with the previous example. Again, I didn't know it, but I needed to create a new meaning around that particularly challenging event, and it was a process that was shared with me by a counselor who ended up becoming a good friend of mine, and also uh, later on finding out that I had helped him in achieving sobriety as well, which was really cool. But the process was basically, I guess, what we call the theater technique. And
Okay. So I've got this image that you have shared with me. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on this music, and I'm going to give you the floor. I am sharing, correct? You can
yeah,
see my screen on your screen, not Mobabi.
yeah.
Beautiful. All right.
Okay, so this is just some music. In this process, basically, what you want to do is close your eyes and imagine yourself sitting in front of a movie screen. If you need to look at the image of the movie screen now, and then close your eyes, that way you have a visual. Um, Basically, you're the only one in the movie theater. And imagine yourself as an adult watching your younger self go through whatever your most challenging adversity or experience was. And you put your younger self on the movie screen and you watch the experience, you watch how you reacted to that. You try to remember the feelings that you had attached to that particular moment, whether it was other people around, or if it was people that, um, maybe whatever the circumstances are, you want to try to go in as much detail as possible. And you want to just watch, see the event, how it happened, and play it so you get the full detail. Now, once you go through that experience, you're going to turn that off on the movie screen, and then you're going to visualize your older self and your younger self on the movie screen. And now you're going to take the hand of your younger self and reassure them that everything is going to be okay, that you are always going to be there to protect them. You're always going to be there for them. You want to reassure your younger self that everything will be okay and that you did the best that you could, and all of that's over now. And it was this process, going back through some of my more challenging times in my early childhood and young adulthood, that helped me move past and create a new meaning for some of the things that I experienced.
I can see how this would be an extremely potent exercise. Um, and to be totally transparent with the audience. Sorry, just a minute. I'm looking for you again here. To be totally transparent with the audience, you did walk me through this process before, and it really does have a profound effect on your psyche and the healing that you might have had to go through, that you didn't have the opportunity to go through in those moments. So thank you so much for that extremely potent share, and I hope that as many people out there in the audience get as profound results with it as I did, because it really can deepen that healing process if you allow it to.
Sure. Yeah. And it allows for a greater connection with your emotional self. A lot of times, extreme challenges, especially at a young age, the survival mechanism is to go to your head, and separate from that emotional feeling. And unfortunately, you can separate from emotions, but you can't distinguish which emotions you want to separate from. So if you want to, you know, cut out the bad emotions, well, you're also going to cut out the good ones as well. And that can be challenging when you're trying to have a full emotional life and be present in relationships and in your adulthood.
Well, that's amazing, because my next question for you is really, what are 3 to 4 skills that you might have in your back pocket that can help people in the audience to protect against failure?
The first one, and I use this, I was not only was I into drugs and alcohol, and when I sobered up in 1999, I was also a cigarette smoker. And I smoked cigarettes for, I think it was 18 months before I finally quit. It was December 2nd of 2000. And I had a real challenge with it. It was one of the hardest addictions that I ever had to overcome. And what I used was a technique of based on the theory of rituals. So like in the morning, I would wake up and I would you know, put on the coffee pot, and next thing you know, I had smoked a half a pack of cigarettes, and then I went on my day, even though I wanted to quit and not smoke anymore. So what I did is I got the tip about changing up the rituals. So what I did was instead of putting on that coffee pot in the morning, I made tea instead. So it broke up that kind of almost trance like you know, automatic response of going to the coffee pot and starting it up and doing that. It broke up my routine and hence the ritual, and that allowed me to kick the habit of cigarette smoking.
That's amazing. So that real simple strategy of creating a pattern disrupt was
Mhm.
one of your core strategies in getting over addiction. That is so profound, and I think that's going to help a lot of people here. So, when you have leveraged this strategy, how has that helped you in your growth process?
Just myself, you know, I think my car, you know, at that end of my drinking career, I think my car knew the way to the bar better than I did. I mean, it would just go right to the bar, you know, no matter what. So I literally, and by the advice someone gave me, they said, look, go home a different way, take a different street, you know, break that pattern, interrupt, you know, and you know that strategy definitely helped me. The other thing was I actually changed all the music that I used to listen to. So what I did is I, instead of going from rock and dance music and you know, party scene music and stuff like that, I started listening to classical music just in that early, you know, 6 months to a year. I needed to break those patterns, those associations I had with that kind of lifestyle. So I did that. I also stopped hanging out with friends that you know, were still in the, you know, full on in the addiction and stuff like that. And that was very difficult because it wasn't just friends. You know, my older brother um, was also in that category of people I needed to distance myself from. And, you know, I sobered up 21 years ago. Unfortunately, he never got around to it. And just recently this year, it was a major contributor in him no longer being around. He passed away September 15th, 2 days before my birthday.
Sorry to hear that, Eric.
Mm.
Um, I lost a close family member to addiction as well, not to alcohols or drugs or anything like that, but an addiction to pain, an addiction to um, yeah, no, that's what it was. She was addicted to that painful attention. She needed that
Mhm.
validation constantly, and in the end it ended up taking her life. And unfortunately, I got robbed of that relationship with her because of the choices that she made. So I can fully understand and empathize with that painful part of
Mm.
your heart. Um,
Yeah, I get it. I seen it happen so many times over the past 21 years. You know, we only have this moment, you know, and this is the only thing that is real. Eternity is in this present moment. Past is already gone. It was just a you know, segment of right now, and the future we may not get it, especially with the current global events. You know, it's pretty apparent that things can change and quickly, and being able to adapt. And the other thing that I think is really core is being able to accept what is actually going on in the present moment. You know, that is, you know, something that I had to really work on because I would get caught up in the, well, it shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be that everything's closed down, because we're trying to, prevent the pandemic from killing more people. you know, you, I don't want to get into the controversy of that, but the reality is that there is a highly contagious disease, COVID-19, or not disease, virus, and there are people that are predisposed to that, that will most likely not live if we don't do something to kind of have a fire break, if you will. How they do, work on forest fires and stuff like that.
Yeah, they cause a fire to stop the fire or something like that, right? They do
Mhm.
those fire circles.
Yeah.
Um, no, please continue with your thought.
No, that's that is one of the things about being human, is that we have this wonderful capacity to imagine and create and think, and all of these higher faculties. But the sad part is that the majority of people are suffering our greatest attribute. They're worried about the future. They're suffering about the future. They're suffering about the past, and they can't really be in the moment. And this is all we have. Like right here, right now, is our life.
So, in this conversation, you have delivered so many incredibly impactful tips on ways to step up and step out of those painful circumstances. But what would you say is your favorite and your best strategy that you learned that's created the most deepest impact in your life?
I mean, it's the second of the three things that I think are crucial. Creating a new meaning allowed me to connect with my emotional nature on a more deep and profound level, and connecting with the emotional, going from the head to the heart, which is, a saying that we have in 12 steps, is that, the longest journey a human will ever undertake is going from their head to their heart. And I would say that um, embracing our emotional nature and being okay with feeling is the number one thing. I would caveat that with saying that feelings are not facts. So sometimes an intense feeling, may not have anything to do with reality, such as jealousy, sometimes when it's unfounded, or things of that nature. But um, and then being forgiving of not only ourselves, but others, that were either doing the best they could or the best that they would. And with that, what really helped me was that I don't know if it was the best they could do or if it was the best they would do. I just forgave so I could not continue those behaviors unconsciously on myself, because I would identify with the quote unquote abuser, and then that would live on with me if I didn't ever get down to the core of that experience. I would reenact that on myself, whether it was overeating or overworking, or what have you. It doesn't really matter what the addiction is. The same principles seem to apply, and the same rationalizations, justifications, um, seem to hold people back from particular um, that particular viewpoint. You're just not getting down to the emotional connection, not really feeling that experience, and letting it go. Because once you actually re-experience that and feel it, sometimes for the first time, um, the power it has over you is gone. And then you can really change the meaning of that, and then you can use that is something that can help others, which is something that I've been doing for a long time and will continue to do.
So, what specific strategy do people come to you for? What do people know you for?
I mean, I've been in recovery for a long time. Um, the other thing is, I've had, close friends of mine tell me you're just, I like spending time with you because you're present, you really in the moment. And that's the greatest gift that a human being can give to another human being, is just being present, and just really clarifying if you don't understand a point that's being made or something like that, and just listening. I think that's so crucial. Um, so I think that listening skills and being present.
I think that's absolutely perfect, because from the very first day that I met you, that's exactly the way that I felt, that you just had such an open heart and such an open willingness to meet people where they were at. And I think that in itself is just such a special gift. So what was the number one strategy that you implemented for 2020 to make sure that you achieved your success and your goals?
Um, it was actually an act of self love. I started in late November, early December of last year. Um, I got brought in through the back door to start practicing yoga. I found a South Indian mystic on YouTube and started listening to what he had to say, and he said that the way to make this not a problem in any situation is to get aligned with the cosmic geometry by practicing yoga. And I would never have, and I wasn't looking to, join a yoga group and wear tight pants and do all that stuff and twist myself in unusual uh, unusual shapes or whatever. But I actually started the practice and added another of the yoga practices, and I've been doing that morning and night, to make sure that, one, I am, as a spiritual process, not as a social or an exercise practice. And it has yielded benefits that I would say far exceeded anything else that I've experienced in the past 21 years. So just being consistent with honoring yourself, whether it's, going to, maybe it's your favorite department store, or buying something nice for yourself on Amazon, or going to, your favorite fast food place, once or twice a month or something. Um, I'm fully vegan now, but I still go to the junky little vegan fast food trailers that they have, Yeah, it's all plant based, but, it's still not health food per se. But, just doing those little things consistently to take care of yourself. I think that is the number one thing that I would say for this year, especially because of all of the change that's happened. And I really want to give a shout out to people like my sisters. One's a teacher, one is a food manager, and the other one, is help making masks to protect not only our family, but other people's families that may have higher risk people that could be exposed to the COVID-19. My sister making food for not only children in our community that are going to the schools, but also for their families, and sending them food on the weekends as well. And then my other sister is a teacher, doing learning Zoom, learning how to connect and take um, her teaching studies to her students online and offline in the classroom, those are the heroes, along with our people that are working in the hospitals and helping people that um, have the really challenging cases of this virus. Those are the people I want to, give a shout out to, and hopefully we can act a little more responsibly in trying to slow the spread of this thing so that those people can get the needed rest that they need, because not only do they have to deal with things being in flux in challenging times, but they also have to keep moving forward and doing, their part to make everything work. So
how do we learn more about you, Mr. Eric Wheeler, and
yes,
your
if you could send me an email at the number 2, rfounder@gmail.com, I can get you some resources. I have a infographic on what I would consider the addiction spectrum. And, I've always said that people are doing really, really wonderful things for other people. And then people are doing really, really horrible things to other people. And then there's everything in between. And what I've noticed over the years is that what I focus on tends to increase. So if I focus on the negative, if I focus on what's wrong, um, the solutions will elude me. And the solutions are what we desperately need in these times, especially with so much uncertainty and so much misinformation. And, and I think a lot of that stems from the inability to handle this wonderful gift that humans have been blessed with, or cursed, depending on how one uses it. But I'm grateful to be able to be here with you today, and thank you for having me on. And I really appreciate that we have this medium where we can really make a difference for other people, and the work that you're doing is so needed in raising the level of human consciousness that we desperately need in these times.
Well, thank you so much. You too, like for what you are doing in the world and the position that you are helping people to grow and get out of these spaces of pain and anxiety and really get centered and being able to create a healthy life for themselves. That's so amazing. So thank you so much, Eric, for being here and spreading your light as a heart-centered entrepreneur. We are more than thrilled to have you as a part of the LightWarriors Academy community. So thank you again for being here.
I appreciate you.
Do you have anything else that you would like to share with the audience before we close up here today?
Just step outside, take a little time to notice the immense beauty and diversity of nature. I mean, whether it's watching an ants bringing stuff to their ant pile, or if it's, getting close to a river and just watching every once in a while a fish jumping out, or, watching leaves fall from a tree, or, just take a moment to connect with nature, because that truly is a large part of our nature that seems to be overlooked. And I find has tremendous value in reducing that anxiety and the frustration and some of the things that are posing serious challenges for folks right now.
Yeah, I love that. Space in the presence. Thank you so much, Eric, again, for being here. It has been such a delight. And yeah, I really, really appreciate you.
I look forward to seeing your next episode, and thanks again.
Thank you.